probably of maybe the lower section of the garden. It is mid-July, so there's a lot going on. And ooh, look at these beautiful banana peppers. So this pot right here I use for starting seeds that I want to just start outside. So I usually just throw like tomato seeds or ground cherries, for example, which is what I recently did. Also some pepper seeds. I'll throw them in here and let them germinate in here, and then I'll scoop them out and transplant them elsewhere. But this banana pepper is permanent, so I'm going to be leaving this here. We have some deer damage, as you can see, on the leaves, but it's still going strong. And then this fig actually took root. So this was actually a piece of fig that I cut from the fig tree over here. Okay, this is gonna be a little bit all over the place, this garden tour, so it'll be multiple parts most likely. So sometimes on the bottom of the tree, there's little fig sprouts or whatever you want to call them that stick out of the branch. Just pluck them off. So I did that one time with one of these. I don't want to damage the bark, but it's pretty tough. And I threw it in the ground, and we had a lot of rain and stuff, and then it just took root. So what I did was I scooped it out of the ground and I transplanted it into that pot over there. Here's another example of a little pup coming up from the roots. These I definitely make sure I pull up because I only want 3 like thick branches, 3 main branches on this fig tree. So I'm gonna keep it that way. But this is what we're looking like. The view from underneath. There were like 3 figs on this tree that got ripe. If I can find that video, I'll post it on one of my shorts, so stay tuned for that. I ended up harvesting them. And so I figured that all the rest of the figs were not far behind, but it's been like almost a month and these other figs still are green. So I guess those 3 ripe figs were just early birds, and it's really not time for them to really get ripe yet, but I'll be patient. This is Japanese pickling eggplants. I just harvested the eggplant from here, from this little baby one. Some other ones coming on, as you can see. So you don't want it to get too light. The best time to harvest it is when it's like shiny and purple. Let me show you an example of a perfectly ripe eggplant, this one. It's nice and shiny and beautiful. So once it's done growing, it'll kind of start to dull out a little bit. Like this one is kind of dulling out a little bit, but they're still very, very good. This is far from bitter. I've tasted them at this stage and they taste amazing, but this one's gonna be a little bit more tender and the seeds are gonna be smaller on the inside. So if you prefer that, then it's best to harvest it when they're like this. This may get bigger, but as long as it's staying nice and super shiny, then you can just let it keep getting larger until you really need it, and then you can harvest it. And then over here, there's been a lot of changes in this area. So for starters, there used to be a bunch of dill in this area, but it all went to seed. This is what the seeds look like. All I do is just squeeze them off of the plant, and I'll either throw them just in this area so that they can reseed themselves, or I'll actually dig a trench somewhere else in the garden and plant them. You just take the seeds off, like so, as many as you need. I actually just did this earlier, but I didn't film it. Find a spot in your garden that you want to plant it. I planted some ginger here, but just for the sake of an example, we'll make a little trench in the ground, like so. It doesn't need to be very deep. And then I just sprinkle the seeds in there. And then you just cover them up. And that's it. keep it nice and watered. And these seeds sprout so fast because they're super fresh and they literally just matured on the plant. So I love, love, love doing this. There's no drying required. I actually harvest them and store them to grow next year. I definitely make sure that I let them dry even longer in a cool, dry area, or even outside if the days are super dry. And then I'll package them with a moisture absorber packet. But if you're just seeding them directly into the ground, you can just take them right off of the plant and plant them right away. And it's super, super fun to do. Here is my ground cherry. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about this plant. They kind of look like tomatillos, but these are ground cherries. And this whole like papery thing on the outside, it turns like a brownish orange color. And then the little berry on the inside turns deep, deep orange, and it's so delicious. I haven't had great germination rates with my seeds. I definitely am gonna save seeds because I need more viable seeds. So that is the cherry tomato. Highly recommend growing this if you haven't grown it. You can harvest it when this papery thing turns brown, and you can bring it in your house and you can sit it on your counter, and it lasts for a very long time. It'll just continue to get ripe. Even if you take the little papery thing off, it'll ripen beautifully right on your counter. It'll be a while before you even have to refrigerate them. It's like having a candy bowl in your home. Really enjoyable for everyone. So this okra was huge, but we have deers again. They're really coming back here. In fact, the other day, 2 grown deer had the audacity to come into the backyard in broad daylight, just hanging out, eating what they want to eat. Oh my goodness. So I think that it's all for the best because now these plants can send messages all through the plant to let them know, hey, we're being attacked by deer. Time to put out some phytochemicals so that we can keep the deer away. They've also been eating at my pepper plants immensely, but the pepper plants are still going strong. They still have peppers on them. This is my sweet Carmen pepper. Got lots of peppers on it, as you can see. I need to make sure I stake this up. Oh, I did. Okay, I staked it up there. All right, so we should be good. I shouldn't have to tie it again for a little while. Look at this on the bottom. This one got so heavy that the branch actually broke. So this is where it disconnected from. It's still a little bit connected there, so it's been able to get the nutrients that it needs to keep growing, and I don't even want to touch it. I'm hoping and praying that nothing eats it, and I want it to get fully red on the tree or on the plant first before I harvest. Now this okra was not bothered by the deer, so it's just been like hiding there perfectly, so the deer haven't been able to touch that, and it looks like it's about to flower. Some flowers coming on there. So that's exciting. Let's look at this cherry tomato plant that we have. Beautiful mess over here is my pepper area, or I'm sorry, my tomato area. And then the tomatoes look amazing. We've harvested a lot of tomatoes from these plants. They get really big. These are the Brandywine tomatoes. I haven't had any hornworms on this tomato plant. I've had hornworms on my tomato plants in the front area of the garden, but not here. So I'm really happy about that. I have a lot of basil growing, a lot of borage flower growing as well. So clearly those are, oh. What happened? That tomato was completely hollowed out. It was literally just on the vine earlier this morning. All right, well, guess that one's gone. But I did harvest the other one that was here, so I'm glad I did that because I probably would have eaten that one. They're doing so well. I'm so proud of them. So coming back around this way, the cherry tomato plant is definitely outdone itself. I think it is at this point carrying more than it can handle. What I was doing at first was I was actually trimming the branches so that I can just have a certain number of branches. That didn't last very long, and I eventually just kind of let it do what it does. And so this is what we're looking like. I also usually trim down all of the dead and dying branches, but it was so hard for me to get around the plant without stepping on things that I didn't want to step on. So this is what we're looking like now. But I've been cutting off a lot of the suckers, like these ones, when they get really, when they get a lot larger. And I've just been transplanting them in other areas of the garden. By the time this tomato plant is completely worn out, we will hopefully have plenty of other cherry tomatoes growing in the garden. Oh my gosh, this got so big since like 2 days ago. This is a cutting of a sucker from my Brandywine tomatoes, and I rooted it here because the one that I had here before was struggling. I knew that it wasn't gonna make it, so what I did was I just cut one of these suckers off of my Brandywines, because there's so many on here, and rooted it right in the ground. I'm gonna stake it onto here, and then I'll probably have 2 main stems. So I have one stem attached to this black trellis, or whatever you call this stick, and then the other stem will be attached to the brown one. So that's the plan. So hopefully we'll have a new fresh tomato plant coming up, just in case anything happens to these ones. Oh my gosh, I just love it. The Black Beauty eggplants are doing so good. I'm honestly kind of surprised because the chamomile that I had growing here was really taking over, and so I thought that it would kind of suffocate the eggplants, but it actually seems like it's only been benefiting them. Chamomile is actually a natural nitrogen fixer. Had its time to shine, and now it's kind of dying back a little bit. So the eggplant is like, yes, it's my turn now. Huge comfrey plants next to both of these eggplants, and so I just cut it down and placed it around the eggplant so that it can feed it. We have some ginger that came up from last year. I did not plant this, so really excited about that. Seeing that inspired me to plant more ginger, so I planted some here, and I think somewhere over there on the other side. One more eggplant right there. And then moving to the left of us, we have radishes that are all going to seed. No, actually, these might be turnips. Turnips that are going to seed. So I'm just waiting for them to turn brown and dry out so I can harvest them. I have to wait because I do need to save some turnip seeds. I don't have very many seeds left, and the ones that I do have left, the germination is not great. So I know I definitely need to save some seeds. Honey nut squash growing here. I'm so excited. I love honey nut squash. I've been dreaming about honey nut squash since last year. So I'm super excited that this one actually took off. And there were actually 2 here, and I dug one up and transplanted it over there where I had the other squash that I was showing you. And then because I grew Suyolong cucumbers up this trellis last year and they did so well, I just decided to do that again, because I tried Armenian cucumbers and they did not do well. They sprouted and then they were just eaten by the pill bugs. I think I have more planted down that way. I also have a bunch of green beans planted. The ones that I had here previously, they were actually bush beans, and I want pole beans for this area, so I planted a bunch of those. They're about to break the surface right there. The soil is kind of raised, so that's exciting. This area of the garden, which is looking really beautiful now that I somewhat cleaned it out. So this pepper plant is kind of struggling right now. I think I might have to cut it all the way down and just let it start over and grow some new shoots. And over here, this is where I had a bunch of onions growing. The borage flower went to seed. It actually dropped seeds on its own, and now we have more borage flowers coming up on their own, and they look amazing. This right here is an okra plant that I transplanted. I actually dug this up earlier today and transplanted it here. And I also have celery growing here. You can actually see them coming up. Can you see them? See? So that's really exciting. I was honestly getting a little worried because it had been a long time and I didn't see any seeds germinating. So I did actually this morning plant more seeds all down this area, threw them on the surface and patted them down and then water them in because they do need light to germinate. And so I was kind of getting worried and thinking that I maybe planted them a little too deep. However, after I planted the new seeds today and watered them in, I noticed like 5 minutes later, little green things started to pop up and I was like, oh, oops, I acted too soon. So yeah, we're gonna have a lot of celery coming up here. I'll still water it and keep them moist so that the other ones can germinate as well, and maybe I'll be transplanting some celery in other areas of the garden. That would be cool. And then here we have a bunch of cinnamon basil, although I am wondering now if this is actually Thai basil because it looks just like Thai basil, but I can't imagine that I would make such a huge mistake with labeling. Cinnamon basil looks very similar to Thai basil, but I think I might have to maybe Google a picture of both of them so I can study them and see what the differences are so I can actually identify which one this is for sure. Some plants look almost identical, but if you really pay attention, there's definitely differences, whether it's in the leaves or the stems, the shape of the stems, the shape of the leaves, the venation on the leaves, which is just these little lines. That's the venation, like the veins. So yeah, I'm gonna geek out on that at some point for sure. And I already showed you that pepper. Here's another pepper that the deer devoured. It had peppers on it and everything. They came in and just ate everything and dropped the peppers, so that was nice. But it's okay. It's coming back and it's developing the phytochemicals that it needs to be stronger and to naturally repel the deer. So it's okay. It's actually a good thing, even though it can be a little frustrating. In the end, it all works for the greater good. So those are the peppers. And then we have zucchini. I planted more zucchini. This was the only one that germinated of the seeds that I planted. I think these are Black Beauty eggplants. And this was my last seed, so I definitely have to save seeds from this zucchini. So I need this to survive. I need it to survive. I planted more zucchini over here as well. Waiting for those to come up because I did plant them like maybe 4 or 5 days ago. So they're gonna be a little bit later, which is kind of a good thing because I think I want kind of like staggered growth, if that's the right word.